Hi friends, in Planet Earth Dating, it's Saturday, October 5th, 2019. In both the Lynn life and the Jamie body mind, the authorized souls remain only child souls from the deeper, denser dimensions, and all other souls from all other dimensions, as long as the souls are already living by the many rules already given to the search for truth community by wiser minds above all of us. We get lots of questions and lots of inquiries from lots of presences. I'm not sure who's speaking, but it's kind of like a record keeper, possibly.
Yes, that's true. Behind a desk in a much higher dimension.
I see the desk, and the presence is saying there are too many inquiries coming in than can possibly be answered, and so we have to prioritize them. And one of the ways that the inquiries are prioritized is by age.
That's
that
true.
Younger presences are given priority for two reasons, this presence is saying. First, because they have more years, more tread on their tires.
That's
I like that expression, more tread on their tires, and therefore it matters more that they're headed in the right direction.
That's true.
Somebody else is now disagreeing with
I hear that other
and saying it
presence.
matters more as you approach checkout. It
That's
matters
right.
more. So now
you have
they're
less time to make it right.
less time to make it right. Now they're arguing about
Yes,
that.
they are.
Somebody is raising a hand, one
Yes.
soul who's in the cheaper seats. It's like a large auditorium.
Yes, that's
And
true.
there are presences on the stage that are answering questions. They are important presences, godly
That's true.
godly presences in that dimension. Up there, a higher, a thinner, more ethereal dimension.
Yes, it's
Godly
true.
presences are answering questions put forth in advance, it seems
Yeah,
like.
that's true.
But they're answering the questions in front of what seems to be like a live audience of
Yeah, that's true.
souls of that density. And somebody is saying, it hurts my heart when the young ones don't get their questions answered.
Yes, that's true.
And I have no rational reason why they should go to the head of the line other than it hurts my heart when they don't go to the head of the line.
That's what he's saying.
And therefore, we're taking the questions from the young ones first, all other things being equal.
Yes.
Like if there's young people who are in hard rebellion to their soul plan, they don't go in front of somebody who's trying to live their soul plan
Yeah.
and is older.
That's right.
That's not the case. But presences of equal measure in things other than age, the younger presences' questions will be answered first.
Yes, that's true.
And so they're circling around to a question that's come to the Search for Truth community through
That's true.
that healing practice, the Jamie Body Mind's healing
That's
practice.
right. And in the healing practice, this one works with, for the most part, thoroughbred race horses. And there's this racehorse that we've been working with who's a 3-year-old, which in terms of human terms, it's kind of like being a college student, like a young college student, like a sophomore in college. And he's a colt, which means he's a male horse who is not yet gelded, so he's got all his hormones and testosterone really going. And his name is Frozen Money. And Frozen Money, when he started his career, and I'm letting them know upstairs because I don't know what to do about this.
So let's just preface it and
Thanks.
say Frozen Money is a young horse,
Yeah.
and he's having panic attacks.
Yes.
And he's having panic attacks because the life he was supposed to live doesn't seem to be possible anymore.
Exactly.
And this is common
That's
for young humans, young horses,
That's true.
young of many species.
That's true.
Inside the contaminated zone.
Right.
The life that they signed on the line for before the body was born is no longer possible for a variety of reasons. And now what? And many young people have severe anxiety and even panic attacks. Young people, humans, horses, many other species.
That's right.
And now, how can we help the young adults, especially those who are entering adulthood can feel that they're supposed to be doing something other than what they're doing and that it's impossible to do what they had signed on for?
That's right.
Now somebody's saying, many people say it's impossible and they haven't even tried.
That's what he just said.
And that might be true. Let's talk about Frozen Money's situation.
Yes.
Because with horses, they don't get to say for themselves. Humans are saying about many of the big issues of their lives.
That's true.
So just give the background.
So Frozen Money, first of all, has parents who come from really good families. He comes from a good family. And he started his career at a racetrack out west in California, far away from where he is now. And he ran 3 races in California and did well enough that he attracted some attention.
And that was his right place to be. He was running where he was supposed to run.
Yeah.
You can see his name in the rosters of the angels for the track. He's supposed to be there and he's supposed to win a certain number of times or be important a certain number of times.
Exactly.
And it's on track. Funny because of racing. It's on track.
It was on track, and it was on track, and it was on track. And then something happened, and I might be saying it wrong, but it sounds like the situation at the track where he was running
it's getting bad.
Started going really bad, and it feels real. It doesn't feel like the owner is confused or the trainers are confused. It feels like something bad is happening.
And they have to get the horse out of there is how it feels. Get the horse out of there. The situation is falling apart. It's
falling apart.
And it does look like things are falling apart there as his tail is leaving the arena, so to speak.
Exactly. And so Frozen Money came to Florida and then started having panic attacks and racing not well.
Yes, he's just falling apart because he knows he's supposed to be out west, that his plan has him to be out west, but that opportunity no longer exists. It's like it's imploded like a flan in a cupboard.
Exactly. And that's what someone just said upstairs.
Yes, it doesn't exist. And so he's having panic attacks.
That's right. And
how can we help? And not just Frozen Money. Obviously, how we can help Frozen Money is to do a session for him, obviously.
Exactly.
But there's only 2 of these host lives.
That's
and there's way too many suffering young people
That's the point.
for us to be able to get to everybody individually.
That's the point.
How can we help all these young people who are freaking out, in many cases having strong anxiety, panic attacks? Because at some level they can feel that what they're supposed to do with their lives is impossible. And now one of those godly presences says it is crucial for you to stop right now and make the distinction, because many people are freaking out because they can feel how important their soul plan is, and they're just digging in, and rather than doing it, they're saying, I can't, wah, and he's making the sucking the thumb motion.
Yeah, and that's true.
And that's also true.
Right, that's a really good point.
I don't think that's what's going on in Frozen Money's case.
No, but
because he doesn't get to say for himself where he is.
That's
true. He doesn't get to say if he's in Florida or California or New York or Maryland. He doesn't get to say.
That's true.
The humans put him where they put him.
That's true.
And there are many horses like that. How about if we talk about the horses who are put in places that are not of their choosing and not of their soul plan, and of the younger humans who are put in places not of their choosing and not of their soul plan.
That's true. About the same level of agency.
Same level of agency.
What about them?
Oh, that's a different question.
That's a different question.
Mm-hmm. All right. How do we help them? So the distinction that this presence is making is that while the emotional maturity of a 3-year-old colt might be similar to a 19-year-old human man,
Yes.
they don't have the same level of agency.
Yes.
So the situation has to be adjusted in our way of thinking and
That's
say,
true.
what if it's an 8-year-old child who has entered the age of reason but doesn't have legal sufficiency?
Yes,
And
that's exactly
so
it.
to take an 8-year-old child who is making his own decisions but doesn't get to say where he lives
Yes.
and ask how we could help that human child, everybody like him, like that little boy.
Exactly.
Yes.
Another client of this healing
Mhm.
practice, we worked with a human child who is, I
Mhm.
think, 8 years old
Mhm.
and had had a really rough go of it, been
Mhm.
bounced around in foster care, did not get to decide where he was living.
Mm-mm.
It's like that.
It's like that. How can we help those sentiences? There's so many of them.
So many.
And like the children who are supposed to be growing up in places like Aleppo, but Aleppo's bombed.
That's right.
So that's their life in Aleppo is ever.
That's right.
Or that client of this healing practice who's
That's right.
was born in Tehran, but her parents were thrown in jail and she got deported. So her angels were looking for her in Tehran.
In Tehran. Like Frozen Money's angels were looking for him in California.
Right.
His first session, they were still in California looking for him.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah, and that young woman's first session, her angels were still looking for her in Tehran.
That's right. Where on the soul plan, at least for Rose and Money, it still said he was supposed to be in California. That's a problem.
How do we help these people?
What do we do?